Hello, all of my YouTube people out there. Not everything is always cracked up like you think it is. Um, so this is going to be a list of 7 things most people don't factor in when looking for a job or taking a job. Okay, and basically, I'm going to use an imaginary $18 an hour job as that's why I worked out for all these numbers. Okay, so the number one thing a lot of people don't factor in is distance. If you have a 42-mile round trip, uh, that equals about a 2-hour commute in this area. Okay, um, so you're going to have to get up an hour early for work. So that's an hour that you're giving work. You're giving that to them, and then if you finish that shift during rush hour, if you're coming home during rush hour, it's going to probably take you an hour to get home, even if you're only 42 minutes away. So, because being 21 miles away, it takes about 42 minutes to cover that. So you'd have about an 86-minute round trip, but you've got to move it out to about 2 hours, because again, you're probably going to leave an hour early for work, and rush hour is just going to slow you up. So that's an extra 2 hours that you're giving work every day. Okay, and let's say that this job is set up as a 4x10 or something like that, because it's that far away. So you'd be looking at about 32 hours a month just in travel time that you're just giving work. Okay, so that means that you're not making, whatever you're making an hour. So number two that would go along with that is fuel. The fuel costs alone, just the fuel costs alone, would bring an $18 an hour job down to $17.40 an hour. So just think about that. Okay, it's amazing how quickly it can affect it. And that's just if fuel's $3 a gallon. Okay. I already kind of mentioned it. That distance is like time you're giving work free. 2 hours of travel time on a 4x10 schedule, it's 192 hours total a month, but you only get paid for 160. You know, so you're basically giving work 192 hours a month. They're only paying you for 160 hours a month. Um, so the fuel and the hours that you're giving factored out brings the job from 18 an hour all the way down to $14.04 an hour. And if you kind of think about it, you might benefit from a slightly less paying, more local job. Um, you know. Number four, you have the getting ready time. This adds around 8 hours a month to a 4x10, um, effectively now bringing the job's hourly down to $13.42. So if you factor in fuel, if you factor in the extra 32 hours you're giving them a month, and you factor in the 8 hours you take to just get ready to go to work every day, whether you do that the night before or the morning of, and you factor that all in as time that you're giving them for free, that brings everything down to $13.42. Now, that's not what you're going to get in your bank account, but you're going to look at what you get in your bank account and you're going to go, man, that just doesn't seem like enough money for, what I'm having to go through. Now, of course, if you lived 5 minutes from this place, that would be different. Okay, these numbers would be all different. It would be well worth it, right? Number 5, vehicle maintenance. My eyes are really going. That distance, at that distance, you'd probably want to set aside $100 a month. This would bring the job down to under $13 an hour. So the travel time, the get ready time, the fuel costs, and the vehicle maintenance that you could potentially end up because you're going to go through tires faster, you're going to go through everything faster because you're going to be effectively driving your car more a day, would technically bring this job under $13 an hour. Considering all of this, a local job, say 4 miles away, paying $17 an hour would technically pay more than a higher paying job 20 miles away. Because again, it takes like twice. It's not like the valley where if something's 20 miles away, you're going to get there in 20 minutes. It takes about twice the amount of mileage in time to get somewhere up here. I worked at a retail store that was only 9 or so miles from right here, and I could not get there in less than 25 minutes, and I could not get home in less than 30. So that's 55 minutes of traveling every day. Almost an hour of traveling every day just for a retail job that paid $14 an hour. And, I'm giving them 20 extra hours a month just in my, going there and getting ready and stuff like that. Number 7. So, if you think about all this, and this is per month, okay? There's only a $76 difference between a job that pays $1 less and the one you currently have. So, if you move to a job closer to home that paid $17 an hour rather than $18 an hour, you would only be getting $76 less in your bank account, but you would be free of a lot of these other, other things. You'd only be, it takes about 9 or 10 minutes to travel 4 miles up here in say Arlington. So you'd be giving them a lot less free time a month. You would get home a lot faster. Because, that's another thing to consider is, say you go to work early, like 6 in the morning, right? And we said it, as an example, it's a 4x10, okay? So, you're going to get out of that with a half-hour lunch. Man, that's rough, but let's just say they're only going to give you a half-hour lunch. So with a half-hour lunch, you're going to get out of there at 4:30, okay? And that is right in, prime time rush hour for most, metroplexes and stuff like that, big cities. In a smaller city, this might not be a huge problem. It's probably still going to be rush hour, but you'll probably get where you need to go pretty quickly. But in a metroplex like Dallas-Fort Worth, you're going to be, even if you did go through the city, sometimes you're going to be in just standstill, bumper to bumper traffic, not even moving. All right, which means you got to figure it's going to take that hour to get home. Okay, and if it takes you an hour to get home, that means that you're not going to roll to your place until 5:30. Okay, and if you wanted, or say needed, maybe you don't want to, but say you needed to get a solid 8 hours sleep, say it was a rough day, you get home, you're just exhausted, right? And you need to get a solid 8 hours of sleep. That means that in order to be able to get up at 4:30 in the morning, to get ready and then leave at 5 and be there by 6, you would have to go to bed at like 8 o'clock. So you're literally going to come home, you're going to have, just a few hours to shower the job off of you, spend some time with your pets, cook a meal, eat dinner, and pretty much go to sleep. So, you guys know, and I've said it many times on this channel, that like I am not a live to work kind of dude, and that type of thing I think would get old for a lot of people. Because again, you're gonna see like a good like 20, like I forget what it works out to a month, but you're gonna see a good amount of money get dropped into your bank account every month. I think I worked out that you're giving an additional 2.2 hours to work a day. Okay, and the way they do lunch now, you have to. If you get a half-hour lunch, they tack that half hour of extra work. You basically don't get paid for lunch anymore. They tack that half-hour extra lunch onto the end of your shift, right? If it was an hour, you'd stay till 5 instead of 4:30. So if you count the way they do that, then you're given, it's more like 3.2 hours additionally to work every day. Most people would probably be fine nibbling on something at their desk and just going on their breaks. Like if they gave me the option to do that, like you can kind of eat at your desk as long as you don't make a huge mess and just not take a lunch, I'd probably do that and just take suitable breaks throughout the day and be able to leave at 4 instead of 4:30 or 5. That can be a very difficult way to live. I have done this before. When I was working 3 jobs, I would have to get up at 5:30 in the morning for one of them, for my primary job, and it was just not something that I enjoyed really having to do it at all, because it just really meant that I didn't have that much wind down time, and I was tired a lot. Now, under that 4x10 schedule, of course, you get 3 days off, but the other issue is as much as you're going to get used to working that extra, you will get used to that. After a few weeks, you'll be used to working that extra 2 hours every day. But you're also going to get used to having 3 days off, and it just won't seem like you really have that much time off, because, I mean, really, you kind of don't. I mean, you're working the same amount of time you would work every month. So it's not like you're getting more time. It's just that it's like they're taking some of that wind down time you would have after work if you were working a 5x8 and moving it to its own day. So you're sacrificing wind down and relaxation time when you get home to have that extra day off. And at some point, that's what it starts to kind of feel like. I guess what I'm trying to say here, my overall recommendation here is you need to consider all 7 of the things that I just mentioned. Whenever you're taking any job, you need to figure all of that out on paper, and you need to get your true hourly wage. Your true hourly wage is what you're going to get after you give your time and your fuel and your bathing and getting ready and stuff like that. Fuel, vehicle maintenance, and travel time. You add all that up, do some cross multiplying, and figure out, like, to figure out So figure out how many hours a month it's going to take you to travel to and from work. Add that to your 160 hours you're going to work a month, and then cross multiply it to figure out what you'd get there. Figure out what fuel is going to cost you, and then convert that to a number of hours you would work, and then do the same thing. Add it to the hourly, and then cross multiply it again. And then you'll have your true hourly wage, okay? And you want to do that for a job even if it's just 4 miles away. And take the job that ultimately is going to allow you to make good money, but also kind of live like you want. Because again, you might say, oh, but I'm going to get like a lot more money dropped in my account. Yes, if you take the $18 an hour job, the one that's far away, yes, you will, but you're going to have to put a lot of that into your car, okay? You're going to have to buy tires sooner. Tires aren't cheap anymore. You're going to have to put more fuel in your car, and fuel isn't always cheap. Anyway, just a little bit of advice there. Video ran a little bit long, so you'll probably notice that I've edited this one. And that's that. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to my channel. I'm really trying to grow a little bit more and hit a bigger audience with more topics. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the comments of the videos. And do have yourselves a good night. So Goemon Ronin, signing out.